Welcome to our second edition of Tech Wednesdays. Last week we talked about a video streaming resource available to you at the library called Canopy. Today we're going to take a look at Google Photos as an option for cloud photo storage. Cloud storage of photos is one of the most common, recurring topics and points of confusion I see when I'm helping people with their devices. There are a lot of different cloud storage options out there, and if you're using more than one, it can get a little confusing. If you have an iPhone, you might already be using iCloud to back up your pictures, but you also have the option to download the Google Photos app. Some of the things that make Google Photos a little bit different. The biggest one is that there is unlimited storage of photos for free if you choose the high quality upload option instead of the original option. I'm working right now on a desktop, but you can also use the mobile interface on your phone or tablet. And I'm going to go up to the left-hand corner and click on this button to go into the settings. Once you're in settings, you're immediately greeted with the option to choose high quality, free unlimited storage, or if you don't want to choose that option, the other option is the original resolution of the photos, where they give you a limited amount of storage depending on your account. On my particular account, there is 15 gigabytes left. And you can also purchase additional storage for a monthly fee. You can see right here that you can get 100 gigabytes for $1.99. So just a little bit about the different options there. The high quality option limits photos to 16 megapixels. That means if you have a nice camera that takes very high resolution photos, you may lose some of the resolution if you choose high quality. You really have to weigh the options between no cost and convenience versus a potential to lose some resolution if you're a photographer who shoots in a very high resolution setting. For most people, just snapping pictures casually of family and friends and pets and things around the house, I wouldn't think it would be much of an issue. You can also take a look at this article from photoarena.com, which does a really nice job of comparing the difference in quality of original versus high quality, and they do one-to-one comparisons of a number of different pictures. And you can find that on the web for free. Okay, so let's get into the program. Google Photos can be installed as an app on your phone, as I mentioned. It can also be accessed through the web browser on a PC or a Mac. There's also an option to install what's called Backup and Sync that will automatically upload new photos on your computer to Google Photos. Looking here at the browser, and for this video, I've replaced all of my personal photos with photos of Pittsburgh sports stars. And what we're looking at here is called the photo stream. And basically, it's taking all of the pictures that I've uploaded to Google Photos and putting them in order by date. And I can scroll through them like this. You can also see on the right-hand side that there's a quick breakdown of all of the dates. Each of these pictures you can click on and find out a little bit more information. So I'm just going to click on this photo here. So to start, I can see the metadata information by clicking on this icon at the top. Right now, there's not much of a description. If you wanted, you could add a description at the top. So I could just call this team photo headshot. The date is actually just right now is currently when I uploaded it, because there wasn't any original information with this photo. But if I knew that this photo was taken in 2010, for example, I could edit this and put in the correct date information. And you can even break it down to the time that it was taken and the time zone. Most of the pictures that you're going to take with your phone or even a camera that's set up correctly, is already going to have that date information that is programmed in, so you probably won't need to change that unless there's a problem with the internal clock on your camera. You're also going to be able to see some information about the photo as it was originally taken. Again, if it's coming from your phone, it's going to tell you exactly what type of phone or camera it was taken on, the resolution and dimensions here, right here. And then the last thing here at the bottom, which can be kind of useful in some instances depending on what you're trying to do, is where was the photo taken? If you have location turned on your phone, it's probably going to automatically add that information in the metadata and be able to identify the location. But if that's not turned on, you can do that manually by clicking here, and you can actually search for a location. So let's say this picture was taken at Heinz Field. I'm just going to do a keyword search. Here it is. Click on it, and now that information is part of this picture, and actually it's going to show up there on a map. The one thing I forgot to mention is that one of the nice features of Google Photos is that there is facial recognition. So I've already gone in and programmed Ben here, and you can see that there's one face that in this picture, and he's already been identified. I'm just going to go back to my list of photos here, and I want to look at a couple other things on the screen. So I'm going to move one tab down from photos to albums. And albums is where you're going to see kind of all of that metadata and Google algorithms coming into play. And since we don't have very many photos and I uploaded them only a couple of hours ago, some of the data is not showing, as you'll see over time. So the types of things you're going to see are people, so that those are going to be the facial recognition features. If I click here, I can see a list of all of the people that I've identified. And over time, Google is going to scan these photos and identify similar faces and group them together. So there are other photos in my photo stream that include pictures of Josh Bell, and it will identify him, and sometimes it'll ask you to confirm, is this the same guy? But it does a pretty good job of identifying them and grouping them together, even over time. So a younger photo, maybe of Josh Bell in high school, or maybe a picture of him when he has a beard and when he doesn't have a beard, it's probably going to recognize him and be able to group his face together with other photos of him. And also even in maybe a team photo or something where he's not the main subject but his face is included somewhere there, Google Photos will identify it and be able to say, hey, he's in this picture as well. So here are the ones that I've identified so far, and I type these names in all manually. It's not going to automatically know, just because these are well-known people. Most of the people in your stream are going to be family and friends who aren't celebrities or sports stars. So going back, this next one is called Places, and it's using that geographic information in each one of the photos to create place groupings. And I don't think there's anything built in here yet, but as the algorithm starts working, it's going to start identifying those places. So if you go on vacation to Florida, you can easily pull up all of your photos from Florida using that places option. Things is a really interesting one because it's identifying a little bit more abstract things that aren't necessarily built into the photo metadata. So things can include things like animals. So you might find all of your pictures of dogs grouped together, or places that don't have a specific location. So if I click on things, the one thing that Google has identified so far is baseball. And so it's put together these pictures of the stadium and some of the players. And here you see the example of how you can review new items to see if they're really included in that category. So I'm just going to click on that to see what it comes up with. Okay, so this is a picture of a pitcher on the Pirates, and I'm going to include that in the baseball category. So it's identified 3 pictures that are baseball, and I click to confirm them all. And you can see here right below that there are some other categories that it's beginning to identify. So hockey, American football, stadiums. There are all types of different ways that these pictures can be identified. And when you take as many photos as people take now with their cameras, organizing them can be a little bit overwhelming. Some people will try to organize them into albums, and sometimes this option is a little bit easier. You know that 5 years ago you took a picture at the Eiffel Tower, and being able to just do a keyword search just within your photos. This isn't like a Google search in general. It's just to your private album and being able to find the photo that you took or the photo that you're in. Some of these other things here are, again, things that Google is going to create for you as you start adding more photos and as it has time to process them. So, it might create a collage of a significant event. The one thing I didn't point out, I'm just going to go back to the Photos tab, is that any of these pictures you can easily edit or share. So you have some basic editing options right within Google Photos. If I go and click on Edit here at the top, there are some, basic filters and things like that you can automatically apply. You also have the option to do some manual control over the light, and you can also crop and rotate. So if I wanted to kind of crop out some of these fans here and just focus on the player, I can choose the subject, click on Done, and now that photo has been edited. So you can't do a lot within the interface, but there are a few basic things that you can do, and it's easy. It's already right there for you. This button here you're probably familiar with already, but this is the share button, and you can share a photo to an individual email if you want, or you can share an entire album. So maybe you go on vacation with a number of people and you want to share an album and allow them to add pictures. You have that option. You also have the option to just share an individual picture, and you can create a link to share it as well. Uploading pictures is pretty easy. There's an upload button here at the top of the screen. I'm just going to upload directly from my computer, and I'm going to choose a folder that's on my desktop and select these 3 photos. I could also take these photos and just drag and drop them right onto the screen, and they would upload as well. So that was pretty quick. It only took a few seconds to upload those 3 photos. If you were uploading hundreds of photos, it would take a little bit longer, obviously. When those photos are uploaded, you have the option to add them to an album. So we didn't really talk about that, but we looked at some of the automatically created albums. You can also create a manual album. So I'm just going to call this album Sports. And now when I go to the Albums tab, I can easily go into that Sports tab, Sports album that I created, and see those pictures. Those pictures are also going to be included in my main stream here. If you happen to not remember if you already uploaded a photo to Google Photos, if you upload 2 pictures that are exactly the same, it's not going to it's going to recognize that they are duplicates and not include both of them. Okay, now we're looking at the Google Photos app on an Android device, and you can see that the experience is kind of similar. This is actually on a different account, but you can see how we can scroll through the pictures. If I go into the picture, we have some of the same options you see here at the bottom for editing, for sharing. I can go up and look at the photo information, the camera that it was taken on, for example. You go back. But the main thing I wanted to look at from the phone are the options for backing up. So I'm going to click on the menu here in the top left-hand corner. And when you first set up this app, it's going to ask if you want to back up all the photos that you take with your camera. And that option is already on. But the other nice thing about using Google Photos is that it can free up space on your phone hard drive. So if you have limited storage and you're running out of storage, you can choose the option here that says free up space. When you choose free up space, what it'll do is it will make sure all those photos are uploaded to the cloud first, and it will remove them, or at least the high resolution photos, from your camera and just leave a thumbnail, which means that when you go back to the photos and click on them, as long as you're connected to the internet through the data on your phone or through Wi-Fi, it'll go up to the cloud and pull down that photo in high resolution. So that's an option to use. You don't have to turn it on, but if you have backup and sync turned on with the Google Photos app, all of those photos you take with your camera are going to automatically go there. Okay, so that's just a quick overview of Google Photos. There are many other cloud storage options out there for files and pictures, but I wanted to introduce you to that one. I'm sure in some of the future videos we'll talk a little bit more about cloud storage and different options you have. If you're interested in learning more about this topic or any of the other ones we've talked about, we do have an online resource called lynda.com that you can get from our website under the research tab. Once you go there, you're going to log in with your library card and PIN number, and you can search here at the top for different courses you might be interested in learning about. So even though the library isn't open, we have these virtual offerings to kind of expand your knowledge of some of these digital topics. Thanks for joining us this week, and look next Wednesday morning for a new video. Thank you.